Hello.
Hello. Boys, how is everything going, chaps? I don't know, for the 6 or 7 people that have just dived in here, you might hear some groggy voices this morning. Yesterday, Burge organized one of the best in-person meetups in NFTs that I've probably been to. It was the best of the best. Unfortunately for myself personally, I decided that last night was going to be the night that I started drinking again, because it's not peer pressure unless you actually do it, is it, Burge?
Exactly. Also, good to see, by the way, on a slight aside, good to see that X has fixed itself and that the live is being posted automatically. So I know that was
It's
an
been
issue.
posted. Okay. Well, then,
Yeah.
if for the 11 people that are in here, if you could do me a massive favor and just please share the live stream. It is how we grow. So just bear me 2 seconds. It doesn't look like it's showing on mine.
Okay. For mine, it's popped up with a post, but I don't know. You have to check. Let me check.
Okay, I've just had. Okay, I've got it there. I've just had Hopium message me. You'll handle that slight hangover like a champ. Unfortunately, mate, I'm a bit of a girl when it comes to that sort of stuff. In fact, I can't say that. I've got to say something else, haven't I? I'm a bit of a. I don't know. Anyway,
bit of a man.
Bit of a man. I'm a bit of a man about it. I like the wording you did there, Simon. A whole bunch of you would know that we've been talking about a certain NFT project. You'll notice that we've got some shirts on. Simon, do you want to give us a bit of background as to how we've ended up with these shirts? You might recognize the avatar and the smile on there.
I know. Well, just very briefly, just to say a big shout out to Benny Del Mundo, who came along to Burge's event last night and was charming, of course, but unexpectedly, and it was lovely. He came along with a bag full of 3 T-shirts, one for each of us. And it's like being a little kid. It's like being opening up your little stocking.
You're not supposed to take treats off strangers, mate.
I know. But it's so funny, a grown man feeling like really chuffed. I said, oh, thank you so much. Oh my God. But it was great. And so I put it on a sort of seat on the train and took a photograph of it. It looked terrible the way I put it up, and it went on to X yesterday, and it was just very kind of him. I think he was saying thank you for being part of the community and supporting.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, guys. I'm just sharing the link out here for the 22 people that have joined us. Just do me a massive favor. Please repost this wherever you're viewing it from, whether it's Substack, LinkedIn, X, whatever platform you're on. Please give it a share. It is how the live streams grow. I think we had about 70 or 80 on the live stream while the beers were flowing, and I think Simon, you kind of took over at one point. Just a point on Benny from Del Mondo's. Was the first time I've met him. He made the effort to come down, which was amazing. I did a post, I don't know if you guys saw, a couple of days ago about my mum. She passed, unfortunately, 4 years ago to the day. And the first thing he wrote underneath that was, well, we'll have to do a toast to your mum when we get there. Now, I completely forgot about it, completely out of my mind. And I can't remember if I bought him a beer or he bought me a beer or whatever, but we're at the bar and he said, and I completely forgot about this. He said, right, toast to your mum. And I was just like, fuck, you remembered. And there's things like that. And Simon, I know you really buy into it when people really care about the small things. And it does really go a long way. Like, obviously you gifted me a Del Mondo's, which I'm really happy about. But I like that. I like that because it's the human touch behind it. And because it means a lot to me, or he knew it would mean a lot to me. So I said to him, when he gave us the shirts, I said, we're going to wear it on tomorrow's live stream. And in fact, guys, I was so drunk at the time. Well, by the time we had the shirts, I was drunk. And I said, guys, you're not allowed on the live stream unless you're wearing a Del Mondo's T-shirt. So here we are.
Yes,
here we are.
Absolutely. The Del Mondo's.
So that's my little heads up to Benny. I don't know if many people have had an opportunity to speak to him. I know he hasn't done any kind of interviews or live streams. Hopefully we can get him on here at some point later down the line. But just know that you're in really good hands because he is a really good person. So
yeah,
there you go. Any thoughts on that, Simon?
just to say that he was brilliantly discreet, wasn't going to say anything. I didn't actually ask him, what have you got planned? What are you going to do? Because I knew that was a very silly thing to do. And it's very clever.
I asked. But
yeah, well, I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
Work. No, but but it was really good to, hear from him, and he was reiterating, talking about his previous career and how much he's worked in the industry of fashion and et cetera, and being responsible for some really big activations, if you like, in Web 2, and got behind some very important things. So yeah, in really good hands. And then he said one thing, but I'm not going to reveal it. He gave me one little word as I left. It was really cruel of him. I said, well, it's lovely to meet you, Benny. And then he said, I'll just give you this. I just said one word. And then I don't know what you mean. But I was left the whole evening going on Grok saying, what might this be in ChatGPT? But I'm sure, but the nice thing is that there are lots of plans afoot, and they're the real deal. Team.
Yeah, I think it's, I had this similar interaction with Ty Gio from Good Vibes Club. It was that kind of soft approach with people, which was it's just a testament to the fact that their projects are both doing really well at the moment. But just that kind of likability is a big thing. I think in 2021 you had a whole bunch of people who were kind of mean on the timeline, and that was kind of seen as like a bravado thing. And actually, we're not at that place anymore. It's less PvP, which is pretty cool. One of the things that we did yesterday was we did the live stream, and there was a bit of a food review thing in there, which was absolutely hilarious, Simon. And then also you interviewed Bird. I was around looking for my phone at one point. I wasn't that drunk, but you were interviewing Bird. Would you want to tell me a bit about the interview? Because obviously there's no live stream.
Oh yeah, I thought and Bird would chip in. I thought, Jayden said, you take over, I'm going to the loo. And I thought, great, okay. And I'm just standing. And by the way, previous to that, you had done a demo for about 5 minutes of eating various pieces of food and squeezing ingredients out of them, saying, what does that look like?
If the crypto NFT thing doesn't work out, mate, I've got a career in food review, because I was biting it and just breaking it in front of the audience.
Breaking up, look at the interior.
How many beers was this down, Jayden?
And I was just saying, are we doing a food review program? What is this? And you said, I don't care. I just don't care. And you bung it in your mouth.
It was like beef with batter around it. I'd never had it before. It was like a canapé with beef in. And it was like...
Maybe you should do a OnlyFriends or something. I don't know. Eating. But then I did go over to Burge, and I thought it'd be great to catch up with Burge, because actually he has organized this event and done brilliantly. And we had a chat, didn't we, about how nice it was to have different communities coming together. It wasn't just one tribal setup. Yeah. And we had a fascinating... I was going like this with the camera, looking at it, and then I would go, Burge, and tip it up and go up to Burge.
It'd be pointing at the ceiling.
And then bring it back down to me and up to Burge. But Burge, you were discussing about how chuffed you were about the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was really pleased with the turnout. I mean, I think, since kind of launching it and starting to advertise and promote the event, I think the market has only gone down. So it's always been... I always knew it was going to be tough, but the market's definitely not helped. I ran it on a Tuesday because of, venue costs in London were just too crazy if I was to try and do it on like a Friday or a Saturday. So I ran it on a Tuesday. So that was another factor that might have been working against me. But yeah, I was really, really happy. We had about 35 attendees from all different communities. We had a number of apes there from the UK Ape Club. We had from Bored Ape, we had Good Vibes Club, I think 1 or 2. We had Chimpers, couple of Chimpers there. A lot of V Friends, obviously, that's kind of the community that I'm from. and know the most. So we had a bunch of VFriends there and some World of Women as well. So really trying to bring together a bunch of the big NFT communities out there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple events that I'm going to do. I mean, the plan is to do events every couple of months, and to vary the location. So this one was in London. The next one will be in around 2 months' time in Birmingham, and then in Manchester, and then back to London, and hopefully just keep that rotation going, keep growing the events, inviting more communities to them, and maybe a couple of fireside chats with some founders could be a good idea as well.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Mikey's just shared the live stream. Mikey, thanks for doing that. He does it every time he joins. I know there's a few other people, but the notification hasn't showed up. The thing I love about the in-person meetups is the online bravado immediately goes away. Not that there's bravado between people, but as soon as you meet somebody, you're like, oh, you're completely different to what your online thing is. And there were a few people I met last night. One I want to shout out. I got a text this morning from him. We had such a hilarious conversation. His name's Lewis. Surname is it Reynolds?
Yes,
yeah. So he's in the VFriends community, and obviously when we were talking about Punk Strategy, hyping it up, not hyping it up, but just saying like this looks good. He got into Punk Strategy, and obviously we'd had some messages beforehand. I think he was a subscriber of Carrot Lane. May have unsubscribed. But we had the most epic conversation together, and it was a bit of a joke and a laugh. And he was like, "I got into Punk Strategy because you said it was a good thing to, and it's down like 10x from where I bought it." Blah blah blah.
Yes.
Anyway, we had a joke and a laugh, and he's texted me this morning at 6:30. So unless he stayed out and had an absolute bender, I don't know. But this is probably getting up for work. So he's texted me this morning going, "Yo, Carrot Lane, I'm the Essex boy who spent his life savings buying the top of Punk Strategy."
Yes. Yeah, he mentioned that to me. Yeah.
And then he goes, only joking, obviously, though I did do my bollocks. Great to meet you, bro. Love, heart. This is the beauty of the space. I love the meetups. There's just a different thing to it. And Burge, I think you're absolutely right. There is an appetite for people to meet up in person. It's like you meet these people and you just realize everyone's normal. Even some of the founders who, like Benny, Jacob, I know Tyler was there, it was good to meet him. Obviously, we've spoken to these people before, but they're just everyday people. And actually, you start to realize they're just enthusiasts like the rest of us. They're not anything different to kind of what we are. But there was Lewis, which I met, and I want to give him a shout out because I really appreciate him turning up, because actually coming to those events when you're down bad is actually, it says a lot about what the community means to you. But there were a few new faces who have just got into NFTs. And one of them I won't mention the name. Or I probably could. It was Karis. She was there. Plays for England. And she said to me, Jayden, so these NFT community, because you bought her first NFT was an X-Copy Max Payne, went through the whole thing of, right, this is the top guy in the space, blah, blah, blah. Really excited about it. Got the chemical dopamine hit when this X-Copy lands in her wallet. She goes, does everyone just identify themselves by the NFT they own? Like, because there was some people going around saying, I'm VFriends. What does that mean? And I was like, and then she's going, there's there's guys going around saying, I'm the apes. And like, I didn't know. I was like, obviously people introduce themselves as I'm the apes, or I'm the World of Women, I'm the VFriends. It's kind of like this weird thing. And obviously if you're not in that ecosystem, it just looks geeky. It looks geeky as shit.
Well, actually, like when we met up beforehand at that restaurant, and that guy was over, he was like 2 tables over on his laptop, like looking over every now and then, like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Talking about Del Mundo's
that raccoon with a cigarette in his mouth.
and that's like the insight into like what probably the barman was thinking. Or like Karis is a great example of like someone who's not in, or not like hardly in the space, and like a normal person's kind of reaction to what we must sound like, which is crazy, like people coming over and say, oh, I'm from VFriends, or I'm VFriends. oh, I'm an ape. Like,
Yeah.
like people, like to normal people, they must think we've gone crazy.
Yeah, she did say the other thing. I'd let you dive in there, Simon. The other thing she did say is like, geez, they do get excited about like some really small things, don't they? Just like I think one of the founders was talking about something that they were doing, like an activation or something like, and it was like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like this, and she basically what she was trying to say is like the enthusiasm for the space is just like, and it's completely unmatched. One other shout out I want to do is to Alexander Mayer, who traveled over from Austria to get to the event. Burge, we get to the bar and he's on his laptop working or whatever. We're like, mate, put that away. We're on the. But it was so good of him to travel over, which was really good. And this is the beauty of catching up with these people in person, because now it's like, you know, these are lifelong friendships that are going to be locked in, which is amazing.
Yeah, it makes all the difference when you meet people. I mean, it's so funny, isn't it? Because meeting people was a very normal thing to do, and is a very normal thing to do. But the more you spend time in this world, and everything's sort of digital and online, the more you really value just connecting with the people I hadn't met either of you, and I've known you or been connected for last summer.
That was the first time we met.
I know,
which is we met in person.
Actually ridiculous. Particularly as you're only probably about 50 minutes from me. So it's like, you know, but what just to go back very briefly to Karis and just say what I loved about her kind of her attitude was, I said, how much do you know about NFTs? She said, I don't know. I know Jayden was banging on about it at one point, and then I just said, so what are these? And she said, I just want to know, you give me a bit of a grounding in this. And then you said what you said, and she said what I loved about her attitude was, I thought, why not? I'm just going to go for it. I'll start understanding more about it later, but I just believe sometimes you just got to go for things in life, and I thought that was great.
I think you're spot on. But did you tell it like you wanted to chip in there with something? No.
I've got my Burgess bangers lined up. I'm just looking at a few of these posts. A few of these posts are some bangers. Like there's some big news, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that eventually.
Okay, I love that, guys. Well, we'll stop talking about our night out and how hungover we are. But Simon, it was very good to meet you in person. And you were obviously you don't drink, which is amazing. I don't usually drink, but I got peer pressured into it. Obviously, as soon as Alexander was there, I was like, I've got to have a beer with him. He's traveled from Austria, for God's sake. But really good.
You are a lightweight. You are.
Well,
and I love that.
Two beers in. So we decided, and this is the last on the beer drinking, by the way. But 2 beers in, and there's still 3 hours to go to the event. I've got pins and needles in my face, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to make it. So I'll start chugging water, kind of powers of recovery, then back on the beers again. So it was pretty cool, which is awesome. Guys, wanna crack on with things. We've got some really good stuff lined up. Simon's Niche Nuggets, Burgess Bangers, some of the stuff that's happening on the timeline. Obviously, Adam Weitsman is on an absolute tear at the moment, buying up NFT projects, single-handedly propping up the market. But I just want to scale things back just a little bit. How are you two feeling about the general crypto market at the moment? Bitcoin's crashing. Do you think that we now just need to accept that we are in a bear market, or is it just hopium for me to believe that actually this is going to be a V-shaped recovery? Any thoughts?
Well, I feel like we have to accept we're in a bear market in crypto, for sure. I mean, it's almost softened a little bit by the fact that, you know, if you're in the NFT space, you know that we've been in the bear market for the last 4 years. So, you know, nothing's really changed in the NFT side of things. In fact, if anything, we're seeing a little bit of a few positive signs in the NFT market. But for crypto, I mean, you know, the crash, we had, you know, the crash down from, I think, 100K plus down to like 80K or 90K, and then it was 80K, and now it's around 60K. Like, I think it's pretty clear to say this is a bear market. Now, the question is, how long will it last? I mean, I think there's still a lot of positive signs that are coming. You know, we've got the Clarity Bill in the US that still hasn't passed. I've been looking on the timeline. I've seen a bunch of chatter about stable coins and legislation being passed through, whether it's in the UK, um, uh, with their government, or whether it's in the US as well. Like, I think stable coins is going to be a big deal this year. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to last for as long as people might think. I don't think it's as doom and gloom as maybe people feel right now. But obviously, people are going to be hurting. Their bags are going to be down a lot, because a lot of people used to say you have to hold stables. You have to make sure you're holding a decent amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum to ride through these volatile times. Well, Bitcoin's down 50% almost. Ethereum's down is down over 50%. I'm pretty sure Ethereum was over 4,000, right? And now it's around 2,000. So people are definitely going to feel it.
Any thoughts, Simon?
I was just going to say, in terms of how I'm feeling, I don't know about anyone else. I've actually got to the point where I'm just probably in that acceptance phase. I don't, it's kind of weird thing. I don't really care. Just get on with it. If you're going to go down, please just get on with it. Because we're definitely in a bear market. I do agree, and I know it could be hopium, but quite a lot of people are saying, yeah, we are in a bear market. They think it's going to be less time because of all the other factors surrounding it, but that could just be a bit of wishful thinking. Still can't get my head around why, actually, at this stage in the cycle of Bitcoin, there would be any reason for there to be, just because it's a 4-year cycle, because it's a 4-year cycle. I can see why the halving used to have much more impact in the earlier days. Maybe I forgot. I've just stopped trying to find the logic of it. And in fact, what it's done is, once you get to that stage, you can just turn your attention to the things that make you feel positive about the space. And one of those clearly is NFTs. That buzz doesn't go away, wherever you are.
Yeah, mate, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the benefits of being at this in-person meetup is you get to talk to people about the things that they're investing in. And actually, the market's bleeding so much, but I find that so many people are going really far out on the risk curve. They're going into some obscure ecosystems. And when things bleed the most, I always think it's just better to stay in that sweet spot of core things that you believe in, and not stuck in echo chambers in these kind of micro caps that probably got no chance of ever coming back. So that's interesting. Some of the behavior that and with you, Simon, is that you lean into the NFT projects and try and research around them, and that's part of the joy that you get. Whereas I think a lot of people, the joy they get is from price. With the majority of people, and you want to own something that goes up in price, but I think you source your value from doing the deep research, understanding the team, really looking into the art, so you can really articulate it and understand it. And I think that's a real good place to come from, because I enjoy that bit as well, which is really amazing. Bud, you've got something to share on your screen there for us, Bud?
Yeah, it's relevant to what we're talking about, which is this is a tweet from an account basically showing a graph of the bottom of the market in the history of Bitcoin. So you see here, essentially what he's saying is, like, each bear market usually lasts, or we hit the bottom of the bear market around the 23-month mark after an all-time high. And so you can see here, it dates back all the way from 2013. And then you've got one in 2017, 2018. You've got one in 2021, 2022-ish. And then now you've got, where we are now, 13 months after an all-time high, in which we hit, it would have been back in actually 2024, 2025. I think we broke the all-time high from before, from 2021, 2022. And he's saying that 23 months after that point, you hit the bottom of the market. That's usually historically been the bottom. Now, obviously, take this with a grain of salt, because people do all sorts of technical analysis, and it changes as soon as one thing gets disproven. Someone else comes up with a new spin, and it's for every every 4 years plus
Yeah.
6 months. Then there's
Touch
an
your earlobe.
all-time high.
Yeah, touch your earlobe, get a scroll at the end of the garden, and
Exactly.
if
But it just
shout your
interesting.
stuff.
Interesting on that point. Like, where do you feel like we are right now with Bitcoin? Like, do you feel like it's gonna go any lower, or do you feel like it does feel like, I mean, obviously in a bear market you're gonna feel like this, but it feels like it's at a low point. I don't know how much lower it could go now.
It can go lower.
It can go lower, yeah.
The thing is, I think there were certain signals earlier on in the cycle. Dimcat has just said good morning. Good morning, my friend. Guys, for the 73 of you that are in the live stream, please just give it a share on whatever platform that you're on. I'd really appreciate that. It does mean a lot when you guys repost it, because the more viewers we get, obviously the better we can make the lives. Early on in the cycle, obviously Bitcoin was very sensitive to financial conditions, and they did the M2 money chart. I don't know if you ever saw that chart where it was like it mirrored M2 money supply, and people were going, well, maybe it's just this easy. Maybe it's just Bitcoin just mirrors M2 money supply with a 3-month lag. So money needs to get into the system, takes 3 months, and then it just mirrors Bitcoin. And it was mirroring for about a year. And then what happened was, at the end of last year in December, it broke away from that, because M2 money supply is now through the ceiling. But clearly, human behavior of people thinking that or the memetics of people thinking there's a 4-year cycle and trying to trade around that cycle and then selling is causing the downward pressure. There is obviously, interest rates have been kept higher for longer. I think now becomes almost a bit of a political hockey puck, because they're getting Jerome Powell out. Obviously, he's coming to the end of his term in May. This Kevin Walsh guy is very, very much leans Republican. Donald Trump is kind of like, obviously, he's been publicly scrutinized Jerome Powell. So is Kevin Walsh. They've wanted him out. They just think interest rates are too high. Kevin Walsh has publicly said that interest rates are too high and they need to come down, because what it's going to allow people to do is at least refinance their home debt and free up capital, which is going to basically get more money into the system. And then you go, well, just by first principles thinking, if people have more money in their pockets, they find their way into these discretionary assets. And I kind of use the example of us. I go, guys, if you had an extra 20, 30 grand, Simon, I know you'd be buying more Del Mondos.
That's 100%.
Try and buy the whole lot.
Yeah, I know you'd become the super whale. So those are my thoughts on it. But I think you can accept that the economy is going to get better, but I think there's going to be a short squeeze, and I think there will be a V-shaped recovery, and I think it happens in the next 6 months. There was Lewis again I was speaking to last night. He's like, well, no, we're in a bear market for 2 years, and I just don't think that happens, because I think you can see that each cycle there's less and less left tail risk. So there's less of a drawdown. I think the drawdown this time was like 53%. In 2015, it was something like 90% or 87% or something. So there's less and less volatility associated, and more people are realizing that, oh, there is a cycle, but they're playing the old 4-year cycle framework of trying to trade around the asset. And people selling now are going to be chasing the train out the station. If there's less of a drawdown, they wait for the next leg down, but it doesn't. And it goes back up again, and then you're like, shit, I fucking sold my Bitcoin, or I sold my crypto, and now the actual answer is, guys, just don't do anything. Just sit on your hands, provided you're in the core top 6 performing assets and you're not in some obscure meme coins like, raccoon with a firework in its ass, or whatever the fuck, or smoking chicken fish, or whatever these meme coins are. So yeah, Simon, you're nodding along.
And Jayden, I was just going to say, or just invest in NFTs.
Then you can lose all your money. Not 95%, 99%.
But the thing that niggles me about big, and it feels different, is I know we hit the top in October, but then we didn't have the blow off top of November into December, and that still feels like there's a different element to this. Yeah, because usually we'd see it just blow off, and it did the opposite. So that gives me a sense there's something different, and maybe what it means is a less long bear market, but something feels a little different. But we'll see. Right now, we are in a bear market.
Yeah.
So
Perito.eth just said interesting insights coming out and great to see the gang last night. So I'm assuming that was someone who was there last night.
Yes, it was Perito, the gift holder, VFriends guy that we met last night.
Okay.
He's the guy who's like, oh, you're gonna make me reactivate my remember he re-downloaded X? Yep.
Oh right, okay, yes, got it. Okay, sorry.
He's like, you're gonna get me back into this.
Face.
I was making the most of the canapes. I was like mind sweeping the food, which is absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, Perito, really appreciate you commenting, and obviously good to catch up last night. See, this is the beauty of it, is like people dive on the live streams now, and you've got some context of who they are, which I think is a lot of fun. Just moving on swiftly, one of the big things that's been on the timeline recently is, while crypto's capitulating, our knight in shining armor, who, aka Adam Weitsman, is basically sent from the gods to save NFT projects, or in fact the entire ecosystem, which I think is an amazing thing. He shared a post the other day. I was not surprised the amount of engagement it got, whilst also being surprised because there was 980,000 impressions on this one post that he did, which he's basically saying, look, I'm supporting NFT projects because I really care about the space. Bertrand, I wonder if you can get that post up.
Yeah.
I really care about the space, and he wants to buy into these projects, but then also gift people some NFTs from these projects, people who might be a bit tight on money. And I think what he's doing, and I said this before, I shared a snippet of us on a live stream where we were talking about, people will remember this moment in time where these original people were really significant to helping and supporting the space. And people never forget that. It's almost like a cultural moment. And I shared that snippet, and that video went viral, obviously because people resonate with it. But he continues to support the space, which I think is amazing. And if he gets into some of these projects and they go on to be very good projects, he will always be seen as like, it's almost like influencer marketing 2.0, because I don't like to use the word cult or key opinion leader or whatever, but people will look at those folks, and when they dive into spaces and live streams, they want to hear from them and what their stories are and their journeys and all these sorts of things. But Burge, you've got that on there. Sam, do you have any thoughts on that while I get that up on stage?
It's funny because I was just going to say that, he's amazing. Comes across as such a lovely chap as well. One or two messages where he said, thanks for that insight. That was really useful. And it's been great. One thing I don't know about you guys.
You took it down,
sometimes,
Jayden.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm just letting Simon make his point.
Okay.
The only thing that I always feel is when people post saying, what about us? What about us? There's a little part of me thinks, you know what? Don't look too desperate. There's going to be thousands of people all saying the same thing. Almost could be a bit more subtle about it. Talk about the project, but don't go, come to us, because that can feel, sometimes that could be putting someone off if you push too hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know Adam, but I get a sense from his background that he has come from nothing, or he has been in a stage in his life where he's had nothing. So he understands that side of it. So he probably understands the psychology behind someone also asking. So I think that's probably not, I think it's more cringy for us watching when people, when people get a bit beggy, but he's in that position, doing this for a reason. He's done the post, which is obviously driving flows to him. So people are ordinarily going to have that behavior. But it was interesting. And Burge, I'll share the post now. And we can just kind of maybe go through some of the comments and some of the NFT projects that are shared in there. Maybe just give our 2 cents on what's happening. So, Burge, you just want to read the post out and what he's actually said in there?
Yeah. So basically, he just put this post up. If he actually feels like, at least to start, when he's saying like, I want to support a collection today since it's Sunday, I'm asking the entire X community. It feels like almost like he didn't realize that this was going to go viral. It was almost just a post he was chucking out there. And he says, look, I'll promise to buy a one-of-one grail from the collection to give it some extra attention. DM, like comment underneath, tell me what the NFT project is, why I should support it, what grail I should go after, and I'll make the decision by tomorrow. And then he also says to add a bit more fun. I think this is what Simon was mentioning. He said that he'll pledge another, 2.5 ETH and buy some floors to give away to some new collectors as well. So let's have a look at some of the collection. Some of the comments here of people who are, putting forward their projects. And Curio Cards, actually, the official Curio Cards account. I'm not sure how familiar Adam is of Curio Cards, but this is a great shout. Being one of the prominent historical projects, Curio Cards was there. Obviously, people that I follow are going to get put at the top here. So we probably need to go down into the weeds to really.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I like where you're going with that, with the Curio Cards thing, because I think the thing with the flip side of benevolence and the flip side of trying to do something good is there's sell pressure in these NFT projects. So he can create buy pressure, but if he gives it to people and they automatically sell it, it's going to create sell pressure. But if you go back up to Curio Cards a second, bud, just scroll up to Curio, because I think actually for Adam to buy into projects has to be some sort of sustainability to it, whether it's the founder, it's got historical relevance, or it's culturally strong, and it's got to be an asset that people want to hold on to. And I think Curio Cards is a real good one because it predates CryptoPunks. So it's a real good one because it's historical. But it's good. I'm glad that's actually showing on your algo as the top one because it's the best risk adjusted one. I know a bunch of historical communities were saying, no, ours is the best, blah, blah, blah. Don't give a shit. Curio Cards is locked in.
Would they say it with that voice as well, though? Would they say it with that?
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Benny's tweet went crazy. I mean, it's got 300 likes, like 11k views, and
301 because you just liked it then.
But
yeah, he had
read out Benny's message
option, didn't he?
Sorry. So he says, after 1 month out in the wild, we have found ourselves with the most positive community we could have dreamed of. We're very excited and looking, and if you're looking for a fun project to dive into, this is it. We love the idea, but we want to propose something a little different. We've been watching you and how you roll, and it's clear you're a very positive force in the space. So in advance of sweeping, we'd like to offer you a gift, our first Del Mundo from the Treasury. So this is very interesting. So I don't know if that's
it's got 1,000 in there.
Gotcha. And they are still the same traits. They're not like there's nothing really that So they're sort of
rarer ones as well there.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, he says take a look, ignore values, just choose something that you like the look of. That's a little off the rack. We think you'll really enjoy being part of the community. And honestly, I think, Del Mundo's, as we've been commenting on like the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been gaining a lot of traction. There's a lot of, the floor price is up a significant amount. There's a lot of chatter about it on the timeline. And I could definitely see Adam Weitsman going into Del Mundo's. Curio Cards is a great one because I don't feel like he's actually looked at or really dabbled in many historical projects. So that's why I like Curio Cards. But Del Mundo's
art guy as well, isn't he? So he probably the Curio Cards is a good one. But just on Del Mundo, Simon, did you have anything to add to chuck your 2 cents in there, bud?
I just thought it was great option. It wasn't come and sweep. It was
who's done that picture?
Why not choose one? Oh, look at that. That's brilliant. Constantine.
Well, that's Constantine. Is that Constantine?
Yeah, done that That's subtle.
Just for the listening viewers there, Burge, what's the picture of? It looks like a scrapyard.
Yeah. So Adam Weitzman's obviously his background and how he made his fortunes was in scrap metal and recycling. So Constantine's obviously plugged this into AI. He's got like a guy who looks similar, not quite, but similar to Adam Weitsman, and a couple of characters there, obviously representing Del Mundo's. Very cool to see. That's what you can do nowadays, right?
Yeah,
scrap,
that's pretty cool.
Project that turns scrap into value. So he's mirroring what cool. Adam does with the
Katie shouting out bearish NFTs, and then obviously
So some of these ones we haven't heard of. What? So the bearish one, that's a lion of some description.
Bearish as fuck. Actually, I don't know too much about them, but I've definitely heard the project Bearish as fuck. I think it's actually on. Don't think it's actually on Ethereum. I think it's on maybe Solana.
Right.
I mean, we can open it up here and I can confirm that. But
no, that's fine. Keep scrolling, my man. I know.
Then this is. Oh, sorry, I've clicked onto that post, but oh, I've lost it completely. No, I'm back. Okay. So
yeah, scroll down.
This is where we're going to start to, this is like going to just be the comments, not people that I actually follow. So,
right.
Chimpers. I actually thought Adam Weitsman might have already bought some Chimpers, but maybe not.
No, I think he's bought one of the one-of-ones.
Gotcha. So you probably wouldn't do that again. Creeps. Jesus mentioning Creeps there, which is a pretty well-known project. Yeah. JL mentioning Cool Cats. She's obviously big fan of World of Women, but she
was there last night, wasn't she?
Yes, her love is Cool Cats, and that's definitely a project that hasn't had a lot of attention on it recently.
Yeah, I mean,
letters. So now we're talking about art. Letters by Vinny Hager.
Just slow down there, bud. Just go up. Let's just have a look. So, what's the floor on that?
Floor on that is 0.11, I think.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Right. I'm going to try and navigate to his post on mine because my algorithm might show different projects. Obviously, because it filters them to the top, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think people who I'm following are filtered to the top. So I'm still getting a few of those. Like Alec Lee is someone who was interested in coming to the event.
I mean, but Benny's comment has 11K views.
Yes. So
that's outrageous.
Well, look.
Del Mundo's again.
Farmer.
Yeah.
And that was D Farmer, who's big into
normies. Now,
normies.
I don't know so much about that project.
If you just click on it, because they're one that's popped off and they keep popping. Like, do you know anything about that project, either of you? I keep seeing it on the timeline.
Yeah, it's done really well. Sort of, it's part of those 2 or 3 that have been minted recently and are doing so well, which is so great for the space, of course. And people are saying this is really unusual, and I think there's various things you can do with them to make them even more bespoke, but I might be wrong. But just a lot of innovation actually coming through.
Yeah. The other one is Betty from Deadfellas. Now we are going to get her on the live stream at some point because we've got a whole bunch of people messaging us asking us to get her on. I think she's recently doxed herself, which would be really cool. Deadfellas, I mean, they did like 100 million in trading volume, and they've got a whole bunch of people who never sold. I know there's a certain percentage of the collection who are like trading at the floor, but they've got a real interesting story. It's like I think with her partner, they either quit their jobs or lost their jobs during the pandemic, and as like a swing at the piñata, decided to launch an NFT project, and it went insanely popular because people were at home buying these things, but also they really executed on the project, which was amazing. So she's another one, and also I've got this theory with geez, that fucking art's sick.
Yeah.
I've got this thing with certainly females in the space. I think there's a lot of the essence of the space is supporting the underdog, and I guess because the females are in like the minority, you do have a whole crop of men who want to support them and want to rally behind them and make sure they do well. You know, it's like what people are doing at the moment with Victoria Verdandi. I mean, she's another one. Her art sold out. I think Sean might have plugged her in that same post, which is
they're very
cool.
hardworking, the Deadfellas team, and they've come out with their Dead Lucky game, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which, by all intents, but apparently, it's a really good game to play, which I must do. So they're being innovative as well.
Did you guys plug any projects in there? Did you suggest anything?
I didn't know.
I might have mentioned the Del Mundos.
I
can't recall now.
So my suggestion to him was Rap Strikers.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I thought, you know what, Rap Strikers would be a good one because I think it's locked in as the historical one. Also, he is a collector, and he probably resonates with the collectability element as opposed to the fine art element of it. And I think Rap Strikers is a good one because obviously V Friends have used the same artist to launch their iconics, which is brilliant. But I think he liked the comment. Let me just get some.
Then he posted again, didn't he?
Yeah.
To say, I've had such an overwhelming response. I need a bit more time to think, and I've changed my strategy a little bit here. I think I'm going to invest in maybe more than one, maybe 3 or something like that. I think what he said.
Ben Fuller, who was there last night, who was at the meetup, just said, made my Cirque, who's a big art collector and well known in GVC. Should I say made by Cirque?
Maybe.
Yeah, just clarify.
Oh yeah, made by Cirque. I think he's talking maybe about normies potentially, like.
Oh, okay.
Right, got you.
So so the normies are getting a lot of support from the Good Vibes Club community, I assume, and just joining the dots together.
Yes,
Tay,
made by Cirque. Yeah, normies is
Tay, need to plug Strikers. There's a lot of bag holder bias there, my friend. Tay is a big Crypto Strikers holder. But yeah, there's obviously they've been down bad. I think the reason why I'm constantly amazed by this, which is the US audience have no context of how big soccer is on a global scale. They don't actually understand. I know they kind of know, but if you put it into context, I mein, Keylor Navas, who no one has ever heard of, no one will ever know who that is. I think he's like, I can't actually remember what country, either Croatia or Colombia or something. He's goalkeeper, but he used to be a goalkeeper for Real Madrid. He has 20 million followers on Instagram. Like Iniesta, Marcelo, Ramos, all of these guys who played in like the Spanish leagues have 50, 60, 70 million followers on social media. And Tom Brady, who's the greatest sportsman of probably our generation, has got 14 million followers. And you're talking about world stars, but they're not the GOATs, like these soccer players, these mid-tier players, but they've got millions and millions and millions of followers. And the NFT space, if you just keep it really simple, it's just attention that leads to buying flows. I mean, Simon, you and I had this conversation about Del Mondo's. I think the thesis is really simple, which is a whole bunch of people have X on dark mode on their phones, like 78% or something. And this Del Mondo has got this big yellowy orange head, and it's all over the timeline. You literally, as soon as you see it, it's so distinctive, and you're like, oh shit, because you know, I know, Burge, you said that the smile was all the same, but I think there's got to be continuity in something that you go, I recognize that. And I've thought about that.
That's
and I think
Ray, isn't it? It's Ray.
Is that the smile or is that the yellow cheese ball head?
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like the yellow cheese ball head would be enough, no?
Yeah, no, that's probably fair comment. I mean,
but I think on that note, because he is Ray Del Mundo and he's part of the backstory that's coming through, they wanted to keep that as the character, but change all the different traits.
Gotcha. Okay,
yes.
so it's one character, but they have
all different. Yes, because in the metaverse, you've that other thing that I think we're on episode 4 or part 4 or something like that. It's showing his traveling down from the metaverse to the Earth, and you meet Squirrel, and there's all this madness going on, which is hysterical. But he's naked. And
Simon, what does this message mean on the thing? Wow, 2 of you guys with the t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, 2.
3 of us.
It's all 3.
Let's fucking go.
Yes, very kindly. Benny brought 3 along to the event yesterday, and very thoughtful of him. As you said earlier, you know, those small touches make a big difference. I
think fantastic. So, but also it's clever marketing from him because he knows these are going to be.
He knows we're on.
So,
He's got
But
us
yeah,
working early. This would used to be $10,000 for a spot like this. But he's got in early, and he's got it for free. So
yeah, well,
And
it's
actually, he did actually say, Benny, I think on one of the first spaces, people wanted to talk about the t-shirts and hoodies, and he said at this stage we're going to resist that because we want to focus on giving value that's meaningful at the moment, and it would be easy and obvious just to do these things. So that makes us having these t-shirts feels even more special because at the moment they're scarce.
so
No way, King.
King Drofter has got an English flag there. So I'm firstly, why weren't you at the event last night? Because that would have been an absolute banger. And secondly, no way. Yeah, I like getting gifts. I really like Benny as well. It was really good to catch up with him. This seems like, even though crypto is going down, Bitcoin's going down, there's all this stuff on the timeline. I think there's going to be a V-shaped recovery because I think as soon as this Kevin Walsh gets back in power, is announced as the Fed chair, he's gonna drop rates. They're going to roll the national debt. I think there's like 9 or 10 trillion that needs to be rolled this year before December. And there's the midterms in November. So I think we've got all of this to play for. There's going to be a lot of liquidity that comes into the system. It's going to be a big thing.
And Jayden, isn't there a big, both of you, that there is the next meeting regarding the Clarity Act in about a week's time?
Yeah.
And Trump and the government are seriously saying, you guys have got to sit down and sort this out. We want it done now. So there's a real drive for this.
Yeah. Tay's just put there, spoke to Benny for like an hour and he seemed disappointed. I was only going to buy one. Yeah, I think, it's fair enough. Yeah,
that's
Benny
the right approach. I mean, I remember Gary having like a similar like thing with, like in the early days of the project. And he would talk to someone and they'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll buy a V one.
Yeah.
I'll buy multiple.
Only one.
Yeah. He was like,
yeah.
And he had a whole thing was about like one to flip and get your money back and then another one to keep or something. Or that was the thing that you were supposed to do. NFT volumes are actually increasing. I don't know if you saw the kind of infographic I shared on my page the other day. The amount of NFTs launching is increasing. The market cap of NFTs has actually doubled in dollar value, even though Ethereum is down 40% in the same time. There's clearly something happening in NFTs. It's clearly something brewing.
Definitely.
I personally think it's driven by physical collectibles, somewhat ironically, because some of these physical collectibles are going to astronomical prices and people are wanting to fractionalize them or get some fractional ownership of it. So how are they doing that? With a digital wrapper. But I think it's unlike 2021, where it was the digital first, then they had to come up with some physical element. It's probably going to be the other way around because people resonate with the physical assets. Things are picking up. How are you guys feeling about NFTs in particular over the next, I guess, few months? Do you think we need to kind of extend our time horizon here?
I don't know about you, Burge, but I'm feeling like NFTs are doing their own thing at the moment. They're kind of almost I mean, obviously they can't decouple them completely because they are built on crypto, but they're kind of plowing their own path. And I really like that. It's almost like people are saying, do you know what? While we're down here, fun. Let's get part of things that are meaningful, that give us connection.
Yeah.
And that's great. And as one aside, I know it's part of my niche nuggets, but just to put in because it seems relevant, is that I did some research and it's been interesting that institutional adoption of NFTs is accelerating. And they're no longer kind of seen as a speculative asset, but they, in some of the top NFT projects or art pieces, that's actually growing. And I was just looking here and it says something like, right now, institutions contribute about 15 to 18% of some of the purchases of NFTs. So slowly in the background or quietly in the background, people or institutions are starting to see that there's a value in holding these assets. They're seeing them as art. or and I think that's just an interesting aside. So even if retail isn't here as much, just like Bitcoin with the ETFs, it's really interesting that institutions are coming.
Institutions is massive. I mean, like, that's kind of why I was when we were talking about Bitcoin earlier, and I was saying I don't know if it could go down more, and you said yeah, it probably can. But to push back a little bit on that, I feel like institutions are kind of make it so that it can't go down dramatically from right now. Like Bitcoin can't go down dramatically because you have those institutions buying it up with just crazy amounts of volume. But I hadn't heard about them getting involved as much with NFTs. I wonder if that almost came about with people like Adam Weitsman getting involved. Maybe that starts to encourage, like, you know, they start, or maybe it's either him talking to other people that he knows in business, or whether it's other people knowing how big he is in business and how, you know, like as a billionaire, like how, you know, if he's been so successful, then they almost take that as a positive sign to start to look into NFTs and start to, you know, be prepared to make that investment.
It's matured, hasn't it? The sector has matured, and it's proved itself in some areas to have staying power.
Yes, I think what we need, obviously, we need a bull run, but I think, you know, kind of like we haven't had that. We've had the full cycle. We've had a bull run in 2021 into 22, and then we've had a bear market for the last 3 or 4 years. I think, you know, we need to see a bull run for people to start to have that like confidence. And for some people, it won't be until there's 2 or 3 complete cycles, where until they're willing to invest. But for others, once they see just one complete cycle and another bull run, they'll be like, wait, hold on a second. I thought NFTs completely went away, but it's still here. And actually, when they really take a deep dive into the bear market, they'll realize that they didn't go down to zero. A lot of these key projects, they went down tremendously, but they still have a lot of value. I mean, a Pudgy Penguin NFT or a VFriends NFT, let's say, it still sells for a few $1,000s. I mean, that's a lot of money. Before,
considering no one knows what a fucking NFT is.
Yeah, before 2021,
exactly.
I mean, think about what Bored Apes were minted for. You know, they're still trading at much, much higher than what they were minted for. So that's in a bear of a bear. You know, that's the absolute worst moment.
Yeah.
So as soon as people start to realize that.
You're right. And if you're an institution and you were looking, you think, God, they're barking mad, these people who invest in NFTs. But my God, they're passionate. And they can see their limited supply. You got these people who are diehards and passionate and won't let go. And after 5 years or 6 years or whatever it might be, you might be going, as an institution, maybe there's something in this. You got a lot of people who care a lot.
Yeah, I always, when I have conversations with people at you know, like IRL events like the one that I did yesterday, I always, it boggles me when people aren't curious about something that so many people are passionate about and are invested in, and, you know, have been in the space for 5 years. Like, for me, I can't understand why someone wouldn't take some curiosity as to like, what is happening here in the NFT space. There's all these people, and it's this micro system, this micro community, and it is niche. It's not mainstream by any means. But you've got all these people that have been invested for the last 4 or 5 years in this space that are just as passionate when the prices are down 80%. Yeah. And to me, that would set off like 100 like alarm bells in terms of like, well, hold on a second, like that's not normal. Like, there's no logical reason why these people should still be invested and like passionate about the space and the technology, unless there's something that I'm not getting here. But for a lot of other people, it doesn't set off those alarm bells. They've read the headlines, they've made their opinion, and for them, NFTs isn't for them. And you know, it'll be another 20 years or 15 years before they get on board with the rest of the mainstream. In fact, the problem is a lot of them will come on if they have such strong views now, negative views now of NFTs. They'll probably fade it even when mainstream starts to adopt NFTs, and so they'll be even later than that, and that will mean that they'll miss out on it, on all of the opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. But Tay did have a question there about institutions and what are they buying
and which ones.
I think you just have to look at what BlackRock are doing. A lot of the ETF action from these wealth funds, where they're publicly their directors or CEOs are going online saying it's Bitcoin's a pet rock, while simultaneously their firms are buying this stuff up.
How about the ETH rocks going like crazy at the moment?
Simon, maybe Tay was asking, I don't know if you know, but like the institute, like more on the NFT spending, like what they do you know any institutions or what projects they might have been going for?
I think it'll be, I mean, I haven't looked deeply into that, but funny enough, I think it will be the BlackRocks, the JP Morgans, Blackstones, people like that, major art galleries or owners of the chains of art galleries, and high net worth individuals who probably are behind some of these institutions, etc. But it's a good call. I know that I was just looking here actually. When you look at Animoca Brands, they're heavily invested. Obviously, they are linked to that world. Venture capital. I mean, a lot of bigger players are coming in, and I know that last year with ordinals, there was a massive buy up of the node monkeys. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds were bought up in the space of about 3 or 4 days, but no one knew what. I think it was less who is it, but what was investing in that. Metaplanet are heavily involved, aren't they? I know in ordinals, the ordinal NFTs, etc. So it's definitely brewing, but it's well worth doing some deeper research.
Yeah, I love that. Simon, just because you touched on that point, we'll go with the Burge bangers first, if that's all right. So we'll just bring Burge.
No, Burge's bangers are essential.
So there's a lot of euphemism tennis going on. I love it, mate. Is there something you want to share on the screen, or do I have to bring it up?
Yeah. I'll go through. I'll just blitz through them. So first off, this was a really interesting tweet that caught my eyes. Was Google searches for can't sell a house or can't sell their house just hit an all-time high, higher than in 2008, higher than in COVID, higher than anything we've ever seen before. Well, I don't know, that's obviously probably in the last 20 years or so. But, Jayden, you always talk about Google Trends being like an interesting way of kind of like seeing what's about to play out before it plays out.
Yeah.
And if this is true, I mean, I haven't fact checked this, but if we just take this as gospel, assume that this is true, then that's a pretty worrying sign. I mean, people not being able to sell their house right now. I mean, we've definitely seen some uncertainty in the market in terms of, obviously in crypto, as we said, we're in a bear market. NFTs have been in a bear market for the last 3 or 4 years. But even in the stock market, I think what we've seen is a lot of uncertainty with the AI chatter that's going on, and there's a bit of uncertainty in the market right now for sure. So that's not a good sign. Any comments you want to jump in on there, or should I move on?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's an interesting one. I think you can kind of spin the data any way you like. I guess interest rates are high. A lot of these people would have been locked into maybe 0% interest rates. Now their mortgage rates are probably changing to the variable rate. So they're stuck in these high interest rate environments. So is selling your house to buy another house or coming out of your low rates that you've locked in a good idea? I don't know. I don't really know the property stuff as well, but I do think that the Google Trends, and there's also a beta version of that same thing on X. It's called Radar. If you have the premium,
really?
Yeah. If you have the premium subscription, you can actually search what people are posting about. But that's a really interesting thing. I mean, this is all dependent on interest rates coming down, because clearly, I mean, the Fed are saying that the US economy is really strong, but the reality is that people can't afford to live in their own homes because they can't afford the mortgage payments, but also they can't afford to move out and rent. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one, but mate, that's a good share. That Tom, do you have any thoughts on it, or?
No, I think your reference, Burj, to AI and the uncertainty that's bringing.
Yes.
You're seeing a lot of tech stocks being hit. Was it
Yep.
IBM dropped by 30% because one of the services they were charging a lot of money for can now suddenly be solved with AI.
Yeah, and actually that brings me on to my next point, which is quite nice. And it brings me on to just a little tweet by Brian. It's just a very, very funny one, actually. He says, beware, it's 2026 and the CEO, him, is back in the code base. So it's talking about his contributions this year. And he's had 5 contributions in the last year. He's had 5 contributions to the code that helps run Coinbase. And obviously, most of them are in the recent weeks. And that's just, and he obviously thanks AI because he's probably not got that developer background that, you know, some of the senior developers have at Coinbase. But it's funny. The reason why I tie this into what Simon was saying is because AI is democratizing what everyone can do. You know, like if you have the idea, you can go out and do it. And Brian, obviously, he has probably a lot of ideas of what Coinbase should do, how the platform should be. But if he's not a developer and knows how to code like the other senior developers, then he's not going to be the one actually doing it. But you can see here, he's actually contributing to the code that's going into Coinbase. So
yeah,
that's an interesting one.
Just on that point, did any of you see that article that the guy who writes the AI language model for one of these big companies, he did a blog that went viral on X and basically spoke about how he put himself out of a job because the AI can now do the job better than he can. And he wrote the language model. And he's going, guys, if this is doing this to me and it's putting me out of work, what do you think it's going to do for anything that scales intelligence? Anything that you need scaled intelligence is now democratized. It's now or commoditized. So it's like you once thought that being a lawyer or a solicitor was a good thing, but or even a shrink or even anything that, you know, Simon, you said this last week about actually the only things that are going to have value are probably the stuff that has nooks and crannies to it, like being the plumber or the electrician or doing little, you know, it might be that these roles that we've kind of dismissed over the years become the thing that people lean it, you know, like the School of Hard Knocks thing. I follow the guy now because of the Adam Weitsman video, and there's this electrician on there that makes 300 million a year. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Wow.
Like the tables are turning.
Yeah, I'm like,
really
wow.
interesting.
The trades jobs. I mean, in Australia, trades jobs are like they've always been like a really solid job to have. But maybe it is turning the physical stuff.
I mean, maybe I should say to my 2 daughters at uni, leave uni now.
Start building houses.
Don't do your performing arts, Bella. Don't do your psychology, Lena. Go and get a qualification as an electrician or a plumber.
Or a bricklayer.
And use your student loan to buy Del Mondo.
Yeah.
Give it to me and I'll spend it for you.
Yeah, Jayden, that I was thinking about that viral post when Simon was talking. So, and that's definitely been a theme. We can definitely talk about that later. But here's another tweet from Brian. Anyone who's in the UK who's interested in signing a petition here to try and help crypto. He's talking about. So this is the key part of this tweet is really, that I didn't even realize this. Stablecoin rules in the UK are being finalized in the next couple of weeks, and so they've basically, I think the Bank of England is proposing a cap on stablecoin holdings for individuals and businesses, and Brian thinks that's like that's bad news, and that the UK should be a leader. It should be an innovator in this space. It should be open to letting crypto and blockchain. And there were talks about that in earlier governments of the UK being like a hub for crypto and really being on the front foot. So if you wanna check that petition out, you can check it out.
I signed it. And
I've signed
you
it
need
as well.
100,000
It came up in the
signatures.
Coinbase app.
Yep.
It came up. Basically, you couldn't access it unless you got into that page.
That's
So I'm like,
diabolical.
this guy. So for the US listeners, there's 79,000 signatories. It needs 100,000 for it to be spoke about in Parliament. Now, what Brian Armstrong has done, if you have a Coinbase, I think everyone should just use Coinbase. I don't know why you'd use anything else, but the when you go into the app here in the UK, this thing covers your screen with this big flashing thing, and it's like, and you can't get out of it. You're like, shit, have I just been scammed? And then it's like, no, we've got to sign this petition so this can be spoke about in Parliament. But I think also there's an element of it about earning yield against the stable coins. But what it does is it competes directly with the banks.
Yes.
I say compete with the bank. I mean, I had a letter through from the Halifax the other day that they were dropping my interest rate on my savings from something like 0.4 or something to it was going to go to 0.35 or something stupid. And I'm like, is there actually any fucking point? Like, does it even matter? Like,
Yeah.
It's not even beating. It's not even beating the hurdle rate of inflation at the moment, which is like, I don't know, 2.5%. So it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it kind of is what it is.
Here's a big one. Stripe considering acquiring PayPal. So Stripe has been, I think over the last 5, maybe 10 years, Stripe has become a really big player in the payment industry. And I would argue PayPal has been on the decline. I mean, as someone who's used PayPal for the last 10 years or so, I've really seen a massive decline in PayPal. At one point, PayPal was, I think it was acquired by eBay at one point, and then they broke apart. But, you had to use, when you were using eBay, you had to use PayPal. Yeah. Then it broke apart, but it was still successful. But now,
Didn't eBay own them at one point?
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did at one point. But now PayPal is it's just inferior in so many ways. Like, for example, if I want to send money to my friend in the US because he's he's shipping some things over that are mine to me, and I want to give him, I want to cover the postage plus give him a little bit extra on top. The amount that I'm charged by PayPal to do that is ridiculous. Like,
crazy.
It's crazy.
I had the same as you, mate. I received the PayPal payment. They charge you like 7%, and then you get the exchange rate fee on top of that. So it's like
the exchange rate is a rip-off. The exchange rate is like another fee.
Yeah, it's just
and
like
they say it like, oh, but it's the market rate, but it's not the market rate. It's their market rate for today, which you'll find is not competitive with anyone who does market rates. So it's like an absolutely garbage rate that they do, especially just to make more money on top of you. And then they're charging you the fees as well. I mean, I for goodness sake, like, I got him to set up a Revolut account just so I could send it to him. And Revolut, they don't take barely anything. Like, I don't think there's actually a charge the exchange rate that they use is actually closer to what the actual market rate is. Like, it's basically what the market rate is. So anyway, that's a big deal, because I think Stripe, I don't know if I might be mistaken here, but for some of the listeners, they might know this. I'm pretty sure Stripe is quite pro crypto. I think Stripe has been playing around on the back end with certain crypto things.
I've set up. I used to have Stripe for the business I had before, for parents to pay for students and things, and that was the go-to one. Very intuitive to set up from a business perspective. But I've noticed when setting up to take crypto payments for any work I might do in Web3, Stripe is really aligned with crypto.
Yes. And look, and PayPal has tried to become a little bit more crypto orientated as well. It's tried to go into that ecosystem, but I just think PayPal, from my point of view, is just declining as a business. I could definitely seems like Stripe's the more successful business right now, or is rising, whereas PayPal's falling. Yeah. And so if they did acquire PayPal, one thing is for sure, PayPal has a massive user base, has a lot of connections with businesses. It's built out the infrastructure. So that could be a smart acquisition by Stripe. Here's a really funny one. Going back to, so we got Donald Trump here. And this is, I think, a clip from, I'm not going to play the clip, but I think it's
hold on. This is not the Nancy Pelosi one, is it?
I don't think so, no. But what he's basically saying is, like, I think he's basically just saying, like, oh, everyone's doing well in the stock market right now. Everyone's doing well in the crypto market right now. Like, he's like, don't worry, like, it's never been better. Everyone's portfolios are going up. And obviously, it's not actually the case. You know, even in the stock market, as we were talking about, like, tech stocks are hemorrhaging. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. Here's what.
Just go back to that Donald Trump thing, because this was the State of the Union address. I think it went.
Yes.
Just pause it a sec, because we can actually play it for the audience. But it's really interesting. One of the two funny things that came out of that for me was he said, right, the Congress won't be able to trade around stocks, and he mentions Nancy Pelosi, and actually. There was this funny thing that I saw on the timeline. It was inverse Jim Cramer, you know, the financial analyst guy. They're like, right, if you just do the opposite of him. And then they had a chart with Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has outpaced Warren Buffett. Yeah. So you're talking about, so you put some random member of Congress who's basically just trading around stock, has a better run rate than the greatest investor of all time. And you're thinking, what the actual fuck? But his State of the Union address. Simon, did you want to chip in there with anything? Or
no. I hadn't seen this clip at all.
The stock market is at 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that. 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. The stock market is at.
Everybody's up, way up. I mean,
no, go on, keep playing it.
No, that was it. That was it. It's only 17 seconds.
Oh,
so
no,
it looped.
Because there's another clip after that, which was brilliant. He goes, Mr. President, it's just going to be too much. You guys are going to say it's just too much winning. I can't handle all the winning. And I'm sat here thinking, fuck, if this is winning, I don't want to be losing.
I know. Does he mention the NFT market at all?
No, he doesn't. No, although Barron is probably buying up stuff.
Yes.
Here's a big one. Meta reportedly planning to integrate stable coins in the second half of the year. So it goes back to what I was talking about before about stable coins and thinking it was going to be a big year. I'd just seen this post and I definitely wanted to include this because, I mean, this could be massive. This is what we're talking about in terms of, like these big platforms starting to integrate crypto and NFTs. And Meta could be a big driver, as well as X could be a big driver as well. I mean, I think for a long time, X has always Elon has always flirted with the idea of having a coin or having payments, but it's not quite materialized yet. We don't have payments. There's no X coin that is used to send payments through X. But I think Elon has said before he wants to make X like an app for everything, including payments, including investing, including social media. So, he often related it to the app over in China. I can't remember what it's WeChat, I think, which it's like it combines all manner of different things. And on that news, Coinbase.
It's just going to be a banking app, isn't it? They're just going to use it as a banking app, and it's just
And Coinbase trying to enter different markets. They're going into stocks. So this is them launching their stocks trading platform, combined into Coinbase. So now instead of just trading cryptocurrencies, now you can trade stocks as well on the platform. So everyone's kind of sensing that, they have to try and go for everything, I think, here. And the last...
Verge, quick question, just while you're there. I think, am I right in saying that Crypto.com are becoming the first bank, an actual bank?
I didn't know that, no, but I could see that happening because they have a card, right? They've had a card for a long time. You could have owned, so I could see them. Is that in when you say a bank?
I don't know. I saw it flash up the other day on my feed, and I just
Let me see if I can find that.
Interesting development.
Just quietly, Burge, for Burge bangers, this is an absolute banger, my friend.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yes,
you banged out my niches.
You're right. You're right, Simon. You're right. Crypto.com.
You're going to have a tough. This is like when the best man does a speech and then they ask someone else to come up afterwards. And it's just like a car crash.
Bangers versus nuggets.
Crypto.com receives conditional approval to operate as a national US crypto bank. Very interesting. So that's a good. I mean, I'll credit that to you, Simon. You can have that one. And then the last two. This is the reason why I wanted to share this one. So it's talking about two punks that sold with the VR headset, and they went for around floor price or only just a bit above. And Rodo's saying, like, I mean, obviously he reps the VR headset in his PFP and the punk that he holds, but saying that, like, you know, for a rare trait, it should be going for much higher. And the reason why I wanted to share this post was more to talk to you guys about. It's very funny when the bear market hits, when prices are down, people care a lot less about traits, or they value these rarer NFTs, these rarer traits, a lot less than they would value them in the bull market. I mean, obviously we've seen Bored Apes, you know, golden apes sell for 100 plus ETH, but in a bear market, you tend to find these rarer traits don't get valued nearly as much as they were valued in the bull market. And then last but not least, this. So TokenWorks has come out with, I don't know if this is the exact tweet that I really want to share, but they came out with a series 2 mint that you could do. Let me see if I can actually find.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because I think it was the most amounts I've seen in terms of marketing activity. It's funny, Adam put something up about he doesn't do marketing slop, except when he's promoting season 2 of TokenWorks. I don't know. Just my personal thoughts on that. But
yeah, so I mean, I wasn't really aware. I mean, when I first got into punk strategy and the strategy tokens, I wasn't aware of the NFTs. And I remember talking to Jeremy from VFriends, and he was saying about how, you know, you could have minted these NFTs and earned kind of this passive kind of revenue or income from owning the NFTs. But I'm confused why they're coming out with a series 2. Now, what they've said on their website is that, you know, first of all, this isn't just like a raise that they're going to receive straight away. 80% of it is going to be locked up. And then 10% is available to the team for building only. And then 10% is going to go towards punk strategy. But it's an open edition, as in, like, there's unlimited that can be minted, and it costs an ETH per NFT, which obviously in the market that we're in right now, it's going to be tough to see that.
How many really out?
I don't know if you can check. I'm on the website now, and I think last I saw it was like 40 or 50 that minted.
Right. Okay. Do you want to just get Adam's message up? If you go onto his page a second, he did put a message up, because I assume he gets a lot of VC folks try and reach out to him to try and invest in his thing. I know he's a technical guy. I know he's good. But I think he needs someone on the commercial side of what he's doing here.
Is it this one?
I think he put something like, "Don't bother contacting me again if you don't mint this," or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it could have been in the replies.
Yeah. Let me have a check on my one. But just, Simon, do you have any thoughts on that? And also, Birch, I'll just transition nicely into. If you've got anything more to add on to that, transition nicely into Simon's Nishi nuggets, unless you've absolutely stolen his thunder, which is probably likely.
I'm done.
Brilliant.
Simon, take it away.
No, I just think that's what you've covered is fantastic. It was actually just a couple more things, you know, building on the institutional angle with NFTs.
Yeah.
Just saw that Blockfort announced the Swiss Digital Art Fortress, a regulated custody solution for NFTs, but specifically on Tezos and Etherlink, which, of course, World of Women are very closely aligned with, which is interesting.
That's sponsored by Tezos, aren't they?
I think, and they got quite a bit of backing from them. This targets institutions with secure, compliant storage, visualization, and management of digital art, plus white glove minting services. It's a kind of sign of growing institutional interest in NFTs as cultural assets, even if the market generally is in a bit of contraction. Although, of course, we know that NFTs are actually doing pretty well at the moment. And the other thing was, I thought that was interesting, just to back up that institutional argument.
Yeah.
The other thing is just to say that I'm seeing quite a lot more movement from other side and posts from Michael Figge and Gaga about how things are accelerating, which may be aligned to the fact they brought in from Improbable a number of engineers.
I met them at the other side event.
Interesting. And that actually that is a way of getting things accelerated. And in his latest posts, Michael Figge said that Yuga Labs is opening other sides vibe coding tools to the public this week, starting with some select users, just for getting some vibe coded objects in the metaverse, and then they'll start rolling it out to all users. And additionally, another update is targeted for March the 5th, will include platform enhancements and an MVP agent API enabling AI-driven features like avatar control and automation. And I've said for a while, and we all know this, I know, they are really have been there, especially Michael Figge, at the head of the curve when it comes to AI. And they've clearly seen very early on, you know, not only are we doing some great things that others aren't with this idea of the metaverse premise and using Improbable's infrastructure to build this out at pace, but they're also really AI driven as well. And so it seems to me, all in all, they're really accelerating at the moment, which is pretty exciting.
Yes, and that's what I said after that other side event. I was saying to you guys, one of the key things that hit me was, you know, well, first of all, it wasn't just NFT and crypto folk. There was some regular folk there that, you know, maybe were just there for an art event, but there was a lot of engineers or people who had just been hired by the other side. And it was people from Improbable as well, who, and these aren't people who are in the NFT and crypto space. They know a bit about it, but they're definitely, you know, not well versed in it, but they're passionate about what they're doing, and they're excited to continue working for other side. And what I said to you guys was, I really feel like they're ramping up, like it feels like they're hiring aggressively, and it feels like that's gonna, like, they want to keep it, you know, churning improvements out and you know, really ramp up what they can do with the other side.
I think Adam Rhinotic is actually listening to us.
Really?
He's just posted 107 mints, 3 days and 5 hours remain. Thank you for all the support thus far. So he's obviously answered that question. So he's listening. Adam, if you're out there, we want to have a meeting. Well, not a meeting. We want to have a nice little interview with you.
We want to gang up on you.
Come into our little office here, mates. No, I'm only joking. It's never a hit piece, but we'd love to have you on the thing just to talk us through what the vision is, what you're trying to do. Obviously, we got into your ecosystem because we're absolutely amazed by what you've achieved so far. But I always think, especially the three of us, it is about uplifting the space, but also it's about just speaking your mind and what you actually think about certain things. Big Mike's put a comment on there. Adam going to save our, he's on about Adam Weitsman probably. Adam going to save our bags. Got an Adam follow back. # bullish.
Nice.
Very good. Yeah. Do you know, I like it when people aren't greedy with the follow backs. And also, I don't even know who to fucking follow back anymore because they're all got blue ticks and there's so many AI bots and stuff. You're just like, what do you do now? I try and reciprocate, but then now so kind of
I'm going different shades of purple with shiny whatever's on my head. Sorry.
I did in light of the fact that Adam Rhinotic might be listening, I did actually find the message that he posted. He said, if you're a VC and reached out about investing in TokenWorks and don't mint a TokenWorks Season 2 NFT, do not hit me up in the future. Now,
wow.
I don't personally, that doesn't inspire me to part ways with my money. Just kind of throwing that one out there. Simon, you look like you've just
I've entered the twilight.
It's like the rebirth of Jesus or something.
Yeah. I've actually I've turned into a plastic AI creation. I look really weird.
I don't know what the viewers are more shocked by, that or the fact that we actually get sunshine in the UK. because that might be the
video.
thing.
Might do this. Look, that is sunshine. Look at that.
Yeah,
it's the UK.
Oh, beautiful. The thing is, the reason why the lighting's not as good here is because I've got the things open and there's not enough twilight for the lights to have effect. So it kind of is what it is. Obviously we're kind of coming towards the end now, and guys, for the 204 of you that have joined, I really appreciate it. We cover these topics every Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can catch up on the live stream if you go to carrotlane.com/subscribe. We email the entire recording out to you. You can also listen to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so you can catch up on Simon and Burge's beautiful voices and their analysis, and my slightly groggy, hungover voice. Just while we're kind of closing things off here, is there anything else that you guys are looking at? How do you think things will play out over the next couple of weeks and months? Anything that kind of tickles your fancy in terms of NFT projects or crypto coins or anything like that? Anything you're bullish on?
I still think, I still think that 2026 isn't going to be, a year of doom and gloom for this space. I'm still very bullish on it, and actually went into AI and wanted to follow up on what Simon was saying around institutions investing in NFTs, and really try and answer what Tay was asking in terms of what institutions, what are they buying? And Simon's mentioned a few. And obviously the space moves so quickly, we even forget. It's reminding me first of MoMA, acquiring those 8 CryptoPunks. MoMA, Toledo Museum of Art bought an NFT. It's also talking about asset managers. 6% hold over or equal to 5% in NFTs, memes, or small crypto market caps. So that's really interesting. And then talking about, investors getting involved in Pudgy Penguins and Moonbirds. I mean, we've seen Luca and we've seen Spencer talk about, them meeting with investors. Well, these investors are likely running institutions. They're not just private investors. They've got an institution behind them and they're wanting to get involved. And so you've probably seen a number of Pudgy Penguins be bought by institutions, Moonbirds. You've seen Chimpers buy NFTs from other collections. So Chimpers bought G's on Ape. They bought Gobs on Ape. So 2 projects Simon knows. Night Gliders is another one, which I'm not aware of personally, but assume of the similar vein. So yeah, just interesting to see how many, LACMA, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think LACMA is it a museum? Yeah, Los Angeles County Museum of Art purchased 37 on-chain NFTs, purchased or acquired 37 NFTs during 2023 to 2025. So anyway, I think that's all to say, when institutions are making a play, they're definitely seeing some sort of opportunity.
Yeah.
If NFTs was going down and was a fad and it was going to zero, we sometimes see on the timeline, I have a funny feeling that I don't think half of these institutions would be doing what they're doing. So clearly they're seeing something different than the people posting on timeline that NFTs are going to zero and that it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anything on that, Simon? Any thoughts?
No, I think my first final thought on this is that regardless of what's happening in the market, I think we're right. I think our instincts are right about being in NFTs. I know not all of them are going to go where we hope, but there's too much innovation. There's too many people still coming out fighting and doing things, which are really exciting. And clearly, there's no doubt about it. They are the most exciting, most human, most connected part of the crypto world. And when you've got collectibles, physical collectibles firing off, and people are starting to make the link to ownership being via a contract on the blockchain and seeing that marriage, I just think it's going to accelerate. Call me full of hopium, but
well, no, but you can see it in micro. You can see it in micro bits of behavior. It's even people in the Carrot Lane group. They're like, well, actually, I'm just sold out. I'm just fully in NFTs now because at least you get the community aspect. There's price stability because of this repricing in dollars that happens with some of them. I know there's a lot of stuff that's getting crushed, but also you got the social signaling element. It just does more. You get more bang for your buck, even though the price maybe hasn't gone up. But I think also on the way up, you've got the multiplier effect, and that's the hope. This is like everyone's got their hopes and dreams tied up in this stuff. And the multiplier effect that people tasted in 2021, they're expecting something similar again this cycle. And there's no reason why it wouldn't, because there's more demand coming and a higher percentage of people have held assets and not sold because they're expressive and they're very hard to sell. You fucking try and, you talk about your cellmate, that you've got to come up with this thing to kind of psychologically hack to sell your own NFTs, and then actually you then get seller's remorse, so you buy back more at a higher price. It's just fucking
yeah.
It's a whole
I
fucking,
did that
you can't
the
let
other
these
day.
things go. You
Yeah.
can't let these things go. So boys, I've really, really enjoyed this. Burge, I just want to give you one last head nod to yesterday's in-person meetup. Was very, very good. I think there's going to be more appetite for people to meet in person. Simon, it was actually great to meet you in person for the first time.
Yeah, my first time meeting Simon as well, and Alexander as well. So
yeah, Alexander Mayer, absolute legend, traveled over from Austria. We had a few beers together, which was amazing. Absolute legend. The guy knows the space inside out. And actually, we've got to get him on this live stream where we can kind of shoot the shit together. But
I agree. One thing, Jayden, just to say, we've got to get, I hope one day that Benny, when he's ready and the team are ready, come on here. And then we can all be wearing our Down Windows.
I like
t-shirt.
it. Yeah, I think that's a very good one to end on, because I had a great chat with him and he did a little head nod and a toast to my late mother, which I really appreciated from him. So that's a good one. Guys, thanks for joining. Thanks to the 213 of you that joined. Until next week at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll catch you then. Cheers, boys.
See you.